And now you can have the confidence with both of those in your hand to go and ask and say, hey, I've increased our business value. Therefore, I'd like to increase my personal value here and ask for a raise. Welcome to this episode of the Waves Business Coaching Podcast, where we help you build your dream team in your business. In this episode, we're talking about Chapter 8 of my new book, Master Your First Job, which is how to get your first raise. And look, if you're an employer listening to this, don't worry. There's no secret weapons or, TikTok knowledge of say this in the conversation. It's all very practical. And if you're a first-time employee listening to this, look, I'm going to offer you very practical help of how to get that first raise in your business that'll make you and your business better and both parties happier as well. So stick around to listen. For more information about the book, Master Your First Job, be sure to go to masteryourfirstjob.com and get the book there. You can read more about the book, watch the trailer. I'm giving away the audiobook and a free 15-minute video summary for free, and so be sure to check that out as well. Let's dive into my conversation. Technically, I'm being interviewed by my wife, Addie, about Chapter 8 of my book, Master Your First Job.
Hey, Jacob. Today, we're going to talk about Chapter 8 of your book, Master Your First Job. Before we dive into all that, the age-old question, why did you write this book and who is it written for?
Yeah, so I wrote this book because most first-time employees don't know how to successfully navigate their first job opportunity, and their first job becomes, just a line item on a resume, nothing more. They get hired, they hopefully get trained, they get a paycheck, and it just becomes a line item on a resume. And I just want everyone to be able to thrive at their first job and use their first job to advance their career. And I can speak firsthand that I was able to do this and create a career from my first job. And that does not mean staying at the company from your first job forever, but it does mean practicing things in your first job and learning skills that will translate for the rest of your career. So that's why I wrote the book. And who is this for? If you are, starting your senior year of high school and have a part-time job, wrote this book for you. If you're in college, you're getting internships, wrote this book for you. If you're graduating, next May, I wrote this book for you. If you're a business owner and you want to be able to use bringing the best and developing first-time employees to your advantage, and for that to be able to create a competitive advantage for your business, I think this book is for you as well. So that's why I wrote the book, and that's who it's for.
Perfect. Well, today's chapter is all about getting your first raise. Now, that can be something so daunting to your audience, but again, your audience is so broad, but I think that you have really good practical skills on how to get a raise. So that kind of leads us into our first question. Why on earth is asking for a raise so difficult? I have my answer, but I really want to hear yours.
Oh, let me hear your answer. Why is it so difficult to ask for a raise?
Because it's like talking about money, I think in our culture is it could be tacky. I know that's kind of big word, but it's just like, oh, money is just such a big thing. And how do you even ask for that?
I think too, to your point, I think people can be looked down upon for bringing up money.
Oh, you're greedy. And it's like, wait, no.
Oh, you're greedy. Oh, it's about the money for you. And it's like, well, it is a job.
Yes.
I am working and I'm getting paid, and I think I'm working harder, so I should get paid more.
Right.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's tacky. It can be seen as tacky, I'll say.
Yeah, it's not, but it can be seen as that. Yeah.
I'll say in my case, no one laid out here's how to ask for a raise. Here's the right way to do it. Here's the right person to ask. Here's the right setting to do it in. Here's when you should ask for a raise. Here's when you actually deserve a raise. How do you know if you're working in a culture where a raise can be asked for or should be asked for? How do you know you're worth more money? I think it's the reason it's so difficult is because no one has the answers to all these questions. And there's so many questions when it comes to a raise. I think it comes down to, though, how do people know when they're ready for a raise? How do you know that you deserve a raise other than just a feeling? And if it's just a feeling, then
or a time frame or something.
Right. Then you don't have the confidence to go and ask for it because you think you deserve it, but you don't know for sure. And also just, practically, people don't like rejection. And
Right.
so when it's something like as big as asking for more money, um, people don't want to ask that question because they don't want to be rejected and be told,
Yeah.
hey, you're actually not worth more money. Because, I mean, quite
Mhm.
literally, your salary, your pay does determine your, I mean, it's your value, it's your economic value to that business. I mean, bottom line,
Mhm.
like you're making a certain amount, they are valuing you at that much per hour. That's just the bottom line of it. That's not
Yeah.
your value as a person. And that's technically not the value to the business, but just on paper, that is the economic value to the business at that point. So I think there is a fear of being devalued by
Yeah.
being told, no, you don't deserve a raise. You're only worth this much. You're not worth this extra stuff
Yeah.
you're asking for. Um, then it's how much do you ask for? How do you,
Goodness, yeah.
if I'm making, I mean, I'll tell you, my first job I made 725, which is, believe it or not, still the federal minimum wage. That's a whole nother conversation. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm like, oh, do I ask for $1 raise or do I ask for a 10-cent raise? Like, and then I
Mhm.
hear people talking about, oh, 4% raise. I'm like, what's 4% on $7? I don't feel like that's a lot of money. I'm like, what is this? Like 28 cents? Okay, like a quarter raise? What anyway? I'm like, so it's daunting because there's so
Mhm.
much unknown and people
Right.
don't like walking into unknown waters, which again, we talked about this in chapter 1. Asking for a raise, you've got to take advantage of an unexpected opportunity, right? Or in this
Yeah.
case, just take advantage of an opportunity, expected or unexpected. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I am asking for a raise is difficult, and that's some of the reasons why. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can name a lot more reasons why asking for a raise is difficult. And maybe you had a bad experience in the past, or you got told no before. There's endless reasons as to why it's difficult.
Yeah. For sure. What inspired you then to discuss the importance of understanding organizational metrics and values when you're seeking a raise?
Yeah, so something I talk about in the book is I kind of highlighted it just then, but when seeking a raise, it's important to know the metrics and values of the business. Because bottom line is, as an employee, for you to have the confidence to go and say, I want more money, like I want you to
Yeah.
value me more, you need to know what that organization values. And so it's really
Mhm.
important for you to understand what metrics is your business or your boss looking at.
Yeah.
What do they value in their business? Because if you can tie yourself to representing those things, then you can have a foot to stand on to say you deserve more money, to say that you deserve a raise. So
Right.
it's really important first, and I'll unpack this in a little bit, but it's important to understand the context of the business and understand what the business values. Because
Yeah.
again, to me, this is all a value proposition. And asking for a raise, again, it is not your personal worth. Please hear me. But the business does have to put a dollar amount value on you as an employee. And so it's really
Mhm.
important to understand bigger picture outside of just your personal job.
Right.
What metrics and what values are valued in this organization?
Right. So then why do you believe it's important for individuals to understand their value and worth in the context of seeking a raise?
You're never going to, well, I'll say never. You will most likely never get a raise if you're not confident in asking for it. I've also found that most places where first time employees work, businesses are not just handing out raises to first time employees. It's
Right.
only the people that ask. And a common thing in the book, I talk about it in the conclusion, is um, things are not given, they're taken. And you have to take advantage of the opportunities. You have to go and create the opportunity for you to get a raise. And so it's really important to understand the company's values and metrics and
Mhm.
understand where you fit into that so that you can have the internal and personal confidence to go and ask for a raise, and not just ask for a raise, but ask for how much of a raise and feel like you're
Yeah.
deserving of that amount of money. So I'm beating around the bush a little bit. We're gonna get into how to do that well, but there's kind of some background and context of how, like, what you need to look for and how you can gain internal confidence.
Mhm. Okay. So then just kind of moving from there, how can people gain that information from their company or wherever they're at, and the confidence in themselves to ask for a raise?
Good things come to people who ask. And this is the case of information as well. So if you're a first time employee and you're listening to this and you're like, yes, I want to make more money. What's the secret way to do this? What's the secret weapon? What's
Yeah.
this word that I say that will get them to say yes? You know, there's so much like TikTok and YouTube culture is like, ooh, just say this and you'll zing them and then they'll give you a raise. And it's
Yeah.
like, hey, have you heard of this trick? And there's so many, you know,
They're always
TikToks and
like,
reels and it's like, let me tell you this secret trick. And it's like, put your phone number on your resume so the people can call you to offer you the job. And it's like, that's not
wait.
a secret. Like that's
Yeah.
wow. Thank you. How does this have 6 million views? Goodness gracious. So let me pause and say, I have no secret weapon. I have
Yeah.
no word that you're going to say that's going to get you to get a raise. This is very simple. To get a raise, you need to understand how a business works. And whether you work
Mhm.
for a for profit business or a nonprofit organization, they both have to, in the profit case, make money. In the nonprofit case, they need to get to breaking even, right? They still can't take a
Right.
loss
Yeah.
in the nonprofit case. And so if you're in an organization where you making more money is going to put the business at a loss, the bottom line is you asking for more money is never going to happen. So, the question needs to be, how can I set up the business for the most success possible
Yeah.
and then show my value in doing so that I can make more money? There's a much broader conversation around what profit margin should businesses be taking. I'm not going to get into all of that. And
Yeah.
if businesses are greedy, the bottom line is businesses provide jobs,
Mhm.
and businesses and nonprofit organizations have to not take a loss on their labor in order to pay people more money. So,
Yeah.
the basis of all of this for me is if you can increase your personal value in the business and make the business better and increase the economic, cultural, um, and value of the business and show how you make an impact on the business to make it better, then you deserve to ask for a raise. So here's what I would do if it were me and if I were to go back and do this. I would, number one, meet with one of the leaders, meet with the boss, who is, if you can, most closely tied to you getting a raise. And you may not know who that is. So then I would go to the person you have the closest relationship with. And you know what a great question to ask is? How can I make more money in this organization? You don't ask for a
Yeah.
raise, but ask, hey, what would it take for me to make more money? Because what this does is, we've talked about this before, it shows initiative. And here's the thing, because you're not just saying, I want more money. You're saying, I want to earn the right to make more money.
Yeah.
That's a way different statement. There's a difference in I give me more money and give me the opportunity to earn more money.
Yeah.
Very, very different. I respect someone who wants to say, I will work harder to earn more money,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Big difference.
Mhm.
So you can just straight up ask, hey, how can I make more money? If you want to show even more initiative and get to know the business better, to understand your context in the business, then you can ask questions around your economic value. So, hey, what metrics do you look at when judging our success? And depending on where you work, I worked at Chick-fil-A. There's a lot of metrics available at Chick-fil-A that we looked at and judged our success off of. So that was easy for me when I asked those questions. What metrics do we look at? Is there a certain labor percentage you want to hit? Is there, in the Chick-fil-A context, hey, what are our car count goals? Like
Yeah.
what do you value economically in the
Mhm.
business, right? This is an opportunity to ask for personal feedback. How am I personally doing?
For
How
sure.
could I improve myself? Because then you're going to get direct responses of, you know what? You could really work on doing X better. All right. Cultural value. What values are important to our organization? It's like, you know what? We really value like being timely, both with
Mhm.
getting to work on time and also like speed of service. It could be, we really value kindness. We really value hard work, efficiency, whatever those are, they're giving you exactly what you need to make more money. If
Yeah.
they don't just tell you straight up with here's how to make more money, they're going to start to talk about what they value for the business. Now, this conversation is not going to be the one where you ask for a raise. Now's the hard work. Again, there's no
Yeah.
secret, there's no shortcut to this. The answer is hard work of how to make more money. Um, but once you have the information you need and you're armed with, I know that this business values X, Y, and Z, and it's personal feedback you've gotten, It's
Mm-hmm.
economic value for the organization. It's cultural value for the organization. So both qualitative and quantitative results. You go and you get results in those areas. Be able to put your name by it. And for me, it was like, I want to put my name by whenever I'm here at the restaurant, we get the most amount of cars in the drive-thru and I can prove it.
Yes, nice.
Because you told me you value number of cars in the drive-thru.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go get the most number of cars in the drive-thru and show you that I am worth more money because when
Yeah,
I'm here, we get more cars. Or you help set up a system where everyone gets more cars and you say, hey, I did this thing tied to this. Because again, you have to tie yourself to value, to metrics. If it's cultural stuff, show that you are the most efficient person there. Show that you are the most kind employee there and start to take notes of what you're doing to work on those things. Once you have those results, then you go back to the boss and say, you know what? I'd like to ask for a raise. And here's why.
yeah,
I know that in our business, you value X, Y, and Z. I want to show you that I've increased our business value in X, Y, and Z, and therefore I'd like to ask for a raise. And it's still asking at that point. Now, at that point, it's out of your hands, and like not
yeah.
every boss is going to respond the same way, but I'm telling you, you're going to set yourself up for a lot more success. And most importantly, you can walk into that meeting a lot more confident because you get the clarity from them on the front end.
Right.
You're now armed with the results that are stamped black and white. You can't argue results. And
Yeah.
now you can have the confidence with both of those in your hand to go and ask and say, hey, I've increased our business value. Therefore, I'd like to increase my personal value here and ask for a raise. It's black and white. It's not overcomplicated. It's not personal in the best way. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like, well, I like this person.
Yeah.
And you've already asked them on the front end to get the clarity. So that's how I would go about asking for a raise if I were to do it all over again. And even now, if I were working for a company and someone would give me a raise, I would still go about it using the same method of I just need to increase our business value and show that I'm tied to that.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, I'm worth more money. And so that's how I would go about asking for a raise effectively.
Absolutely. Now, I want you to talk to the employers that are listening to this, the bosses, managers, whoever. How can they help their employees get a raise, and why does that in turn benefit their organization as a whole?
Yeah, so I hope that you weren't scared by this episode if you're an employer listening to this and saying,
Yeah.
oh gosh, what new TikTok trick are the kids going to try to get a raise? And am I going to understand the
Could
language?
you
None of that stuff.
imagine being on their end and like having seen these viral TikToks? It's like, I know what you're doing. That's so
Oh,
awkward.
it's so frustrating. I watch
I
sales
love it.
stuff and it drives me nuts because I'm like, please don't try this
All
sales
right.
tactic. It does not work like you say it does.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if you're an employer, let me tell you something. You will keep people longer if you clear
Mm-hmm.
this up for them on the front end. All the stuff I just went through about how to get clarity and stuff, eliminate the confusion for them.
Yeah.
If you can lay out that even as a first time employee, that on day one, hey, let me tell you something. As a part of your orientation, I want you to work here and I want you to make more money. Here's how to make more money. And here's the thing, you tie it
Yeah.
to business metrics. You say, hey, if you get trained in these 4 areas, I want to give you for each area you complete, I want to give you a quarter raise. You're not giving them a $2 raise. Like,
Right.
make it attainable, make it again tied to value of your business, and show them the path of what it takes to make more money. This
Yeah.
is going to do 2 things for you. One, it eliminates confusion. Your people will want to work for you longer because you've gone the extra mile to eliminate confusion and give them clarity for what it takes to make more money. Look, everyone is working a job to make money. People who are like, well, I don't want people who are in this for the money. Everyone's in it for the money. If you're an
Yeah.
employer, you're in it for the money.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the money. You're in it for the money. Everyone has to make money to survive, right? That's just
Yeah.
a job is an exchange. You're exchanging hard work for money to survive and to thrive. And so eliminate the confusion and show them how to make more money. Most people want to make more money, right?
Yeah.
But make it tied to work. Have them work for it to make more money. That's first. 2, your best people are going to rise to the top when you have a system like this. Your best people are going to do it quickly. They're going to make more money quickly, but that means your cream is rising to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to identify, hey, who are our top performers? Who can I invest in even further from this point? And that process happens naturally because all you
Right.
do is you lay out the path of, here's how to make more money, and here's how to do
Mhm.
this, here's clarity. And the best people take that and run with it, and they sprint with it, and they want to do it, and they're motivated and they're driven. And now you've identified your top performers and the people that are worth investing even more in your organization. And when you have great people, most business owners I encounter want to pay those great people more money. And so
Yeah.
make it easy for them, make it clear for them, make it easy for people to make money quickly,
Mhm.
and they'll work harder quickly, and they'll want to work for you longer. It's so much more expensive to hire a new employee than it is to retain a really good one. And you're
Yeah.
going to go through several bad ones in order to get a good one. So create the
That's
clarity and
big.
path they need to make more money so that your best people rise to the top, and you can invest in them sooner and keep them longer. That's what I would do if I were employing young
For
people for
sure.
their first job.
Well, to end this episode, share a story about you asking for a raise.
I'll share a bad one.
Oh,
Um,
okay. What
uh,
not to do.
yeah, my first, excuse me, hold on. I'm going ahead. I'm skipping a chapter. I was thinking about promotion. No, raise I did. I follow what I laid out in the book, and I think the first raise I got was just given to me, but it was like a yearly thing, and I think I got like a dime. It
Nice.
was a weird raise thing, whatever. But whenever I was in the same position and wanted more money, I clarified, like, hey, what are we working on? What's most important here? And this is at Chick-fil-A, and a big push was drive-through. And so that's why I kept using that example, but I knew drive-through is important. And so I pushed and pushed and pushed. And I'm like, how do we create a system to make our drive-through faster? How can we do this better? How every position I went through about how can we do this better? Our drive-through at one point ended up being ranked for, again, Chick-fil-A has all these metrics you can look at. For breakfast in the state of Georgia, we did rank number one for overall drive-through score during breakfast,
Nice.
which was our busiest as far as car count goes.
Yeah.
Here in this part of the country, Chick-fil-A is the most popular breakfast spot, and it's not where are you stopping for breakfast, it's which Chick-fil-A are you going to stop at based on speed. And we knew that was our only other competition was other Chick-fil-A's, and
Right?
we wanted to be the best. And so I tied my value to those drive-through metrics, was able to go with confidence to my boss and say, hey, I'd like a raise because I've created systems that have helped with X, Y, and Z with our drive-through. Here's the
Mhm.
exact metrics. Here's how well we're doing. And I can confidently be like, and I'd like a raise because of this. And
Yeah.
they can say, yes, that's awesome. We love what you're doing. Here's a raise. Keep up the good work. And what that does is it then incentivizes me to go work even harder and get even more metrics so that I can make more money, because people like making more money, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And so let's eliminate the confusion for people to make more money and give them a clear path for growth.
For sure. Well, I do have one last question based on that answer.
Yeah.
If someone is doing everything that they need to do, they've got their metrics, they've got, they know what's expected of them, and then they've hit their goals. What do you do if their supervisor is like,
No.
no, just flat out no? How do you bounce back? What do you do?
We're going to go back to get clarity and get clarity as to why. And maybe it's, you know what? Again, when you understand the business as a whole, it's hard to think
Hmm.
outside of your bubble sometimes. But if
Right.
it's, hey, we're actually not making profit right now, we can't pay anyone else more money. Maybe there's a good reason
Sure.
why. And if you love working there and it's like, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
okay, doing this and sticking through it. Again, understand the big picture. If you have a good understanding of the big picture, you understand why, and that why is not satisfying enough or not good enough for you. And it's like, well, we just can't pay you more money, but our profit is at 27% and we just can't
Yeah.
pay any more money.
Yeah.
Maybe at that point it's time to leave, and employers, close your ears. But if you're not going to value your best people and not pay them what they're worth, then maybe it's time to go find someone else who will value where
Yeah.
you're worth. And so, and I think the good thing is millennials and Gen Z, especially now, have had a trend of they do not stay at companies a long time. This is why I
Hmm.
think it is such a competitive advantage for employers to invest in their employees and keep them there longer, because Gen X was a generation and baby boomers that found their one job in their 20s and 30s and then stayed there for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
Millennials and now Gen Z especially they're not doing that. They're leaving at an average under 3 years in a role. It is
Wow.
so expensive to
Yeah.
hire new people. And so again, if you to answer your question, if you get told no and you ask why and it's not clear and you don't feel valued, go find someone who will value you. If you're confident that you've
Yeah.
done everything right and checked every box to do the right thing, and then go find someone else who will value you.
Heard. Well, thank you. I know that was just off
That
the
was a
cuff
passionate
question.
answer. I want to work with employers, and I want to be an employer who values people,
Yeah.
and invests in them. And if I find someone good, I want to keep them a long time and make them work for me as long as I can and show you that I value them. And by offering that clarity, you can have a huge competitive advantage over other people. And you're going to make people want to work for you longer because they will feel literally economically valued. Because at the end of the day, it is about money. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not pretend like it's not, like it's a cultural issue. It's a job. It's about money. The best thing you can do as an employer is give people clarity. And if you're a first-time employee, the best thing you can get is to go get clarity if you don't have it. And I talk all about it in chapter 8 of the book. I actually wrote out a list of questions for each of those categories. So I have example questions and what they mean and why you should ask that question for that initial conversation to get the clarity you need. So I think there's like 15, 20 questions there in the chapter, and you can find it all in my new book, Master Your First Job. I'll end us here. Addie, thank you so much for interviewing me today. If you want to find out more about Master Your First Job, go to masteryourfirstjob.com. I'm giving away the audiobook and a 15-minute video summary for free whenever you get the book. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's 99 cents right now on Kindle, and you still get all of that I just said. So $1 on Kindle. It's $10 if you want the paperback. It's a very low investment for the value that you get in the book. Again, want to increase your value like we just talked about on this episode, and low investment for high return on the book. So go to Master Your First Job now to get the book. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care.